The use of electronic calls are certainly very useful and advantageous when we're talking about a conservation season. There's no question in my mind they're effective. Take them. Nice. And what Pierre Dupuis has replicated with the sounds of a few geese or the multiple geese, he can throw at these birds any type of sound that he thinks he needs at that particular time while they're flying. And it was remarkable how he could just bring these birds just like right down the runway, right into gunner's range.
We got a blue.
Want to take him?
Go too.
The main difference with Pierre's call is that it's a collection of individual goose calls. It's not a flock of geese that are calling. Sometimes when the call is being played, it sort of feels like the bird's sitting right beside you. It's really kind of a neat experience, because I've noticed myself today several times sort of looking back to see if there was a goose sort of right over our head.
Yeah, there he is, Bruce.
Take him, buddy.
Go for him.
Oh, nice
sir.
shot. Great shot. That was a tough angle for you, man. All right.
Fell out of my chair.
Good deal.
Numbers of light geese have skyrocketed over the past 4 decades, and they're literally eating themselves out of a home in their Arctic breeding grounds. Ducks Unlimited has been at the forefront of an aggressive approach to this problem, and special conservation hunts are an essential tool in this effort. Often held outside of regular seasons, conservation hunts allow hunters the use of electronic calls, unplugged shotguns, and suspended bag limits to maximize the harvest of these birds. The U.S. and Canada have a long history of working together on migratory bird conservation issues, and the attempt to solve the snow goose problem is no exception. Pierre Dupuis has been instrumental in this effort from the very beginning.
We started working on black ducks, and then later the interest turned toward the greater snow geese. I personally was in charge of the snow geese survey, so I did develop the aerial photography technique, so to get the real good number of the total population that always has been using the St. Lawrence Valley as a staging area spring and fall.
Greater snows are a distinct subspecies of snow goose, a slightly larger version of the lesser snow, though in the field it can be nearly impossible to tell them apart. The measures taken to control their numbers seem to be working. Harvest has increased dramatically over the last 10 years of conservation hunts, and this has had a positive result on the overall population of greater snows.
For the mid-con and lesser snow goose, that's a much more difficult situation. Because they're so abundant and because they're so geographically widespread, the application of special harvest measures and so on are much less predictable as what you're going to accomplish. One of the big differences today in a lot of snow goose hunting is that we're hunting in May, and the birds are all paired up and they're on the way to the breeding grounds, and they've also been hunted since sometime in September, so they're very, very, very wary.
Let's take them. Oh. Well, one of the lessons learned today was when the geese come in, kill them dead.
I just took one shot.
Yeah.
The other one is going to the water.
No, I got
This one is crippled.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to get it.
If you don't have a dog, you're going to be making a long trek. And that one today, where we sailed one out there, I think I had my mile jog in by 6:30 this morning. There's no question. I was hoping Drake was going to be here today.
There's no better conservation tool in the field than a well-trained retriever. Here's how Drake the DU dog does it.
In training Drake, I really focused on his ability to pick that long bird. Getting a retriever to run long and deep, often well out of the sight of the handler, is an important challenge. But what about those short birds that fall into cover? Sometimes the dog drives really long out and you have to make them be able to hunt back in and find that short bird. Here's a simple Drake training tool to help you accomplish picking the short bird.
Set up a trailing memory in cover. I use a feathered covered bumper or a tennis ball in a color that blends in with the background. Walk about 30 yards back. At first, keep the retrieves close so you can easily help if needed. Now, we are ready to line for the memory. Drake is away. The bumper is tossed behind him without his knowledge. When he's down in the cover, we stop to the whistle. Drake knows the difference between the fast recall whistle and the slow peep and the verbal hunt command. He hunts slowly back in to find the bird. You can use this exercise in heavy cover, row crop, woodlands, or even set it up in shallow water.
It'll take a few practice sessions to teach this skill, but a retriever with a good nose and game finding ability that's been taught to hunt cover will catch on quickly. Good hunting.